Hey Celtics Nation, this is one of those moments where you need to stop everything you are doing, because what is being whispered right now could be the story that defines not just a season, but an entire era. Imagine turning on your phone, scrolling through the usual mix of debates about rotations and offseason rumors, and then suddenly seeing Nikola Jokic and the Boston Celtics in the same headline. It sounds impossible, it sounds unreal, yet insiders insist that something extraordinary is unfolding behind closed doors. Before we dive deeper, make sure you subscribe and like the video, because if this is true, we are not just talking about another trade, we are talking about a seismic shift that could change the course of NBA history. Reports coming from multiple sources are describing conversations so secretive and so well hidden that even high-level league executives are scrambling to confirm details. The Serbian superstar, two-time most valuable player, the man who turned Denver into a contender and lifted an entire franchise into relevance, has reportedly been evaluating his future in a way nobody expected. The whispers are not about money alone, they are about legacy, about history, and about the pursuit of greatness in a place that already breathes basketball like nowhere else. And the city being named in these whispers is Boston. Now stop and let that sink in. Jokic in green, walking into TD Garden, joining forces with Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Analysts are already playing with scenarios, imagining an offense built around the most gifted passing big man in the modern game paired with two of the deadliest wings in basketball. A system where floor spacing, ball movement, and dominance in the paint would not just be good, it would be overwhelming. Insiders even suggest that the front office in Boston has been quietly preparing financial and structural moves for months, building a pathway that could make such a deal possible while the rest of the league was distracted by other headlines. In Denver, the atmosphere is reportedly tense. Coaches, staff, and even some players are said to be blindsided by these whispers, wondering how the heart of their franchise could suddenly be considering a departure. Yet, for those following the deeper currents of NBA politics, the timing almost makes sense. Denver has struggled with playoff heartbreaks despite Jokic's brilliance, and questions about whether the franchise could build a lasting dynasty around him have been growing louder in private circles. The Celtics, meanwhile, offer something Denver cannot: a combination of historical weight, global spotlight, and a roster that is already balanced enough to chase multiple titles immediately. But what makes this story so electrifying is not just the basketball fit. It is the secrecy, the suggestion that deals and discussions have already taken place far from cameras, that a framework is already complete and simply awaiting the right moment to surface. Some reports even hint that the decision has been finalized, that Jokic has already chosen Boston, leaving fans and media suspended in a strange mix of disbelief and anticipation. If this is true, the ripple effects would be staggering. Rival franchises would instantly be forced to recalculate their entire strategy. Free agents considering their next destination would suddenly view Boston as the epicenter of opportunity. Agents and scouts are already rumored to be reworking their summer priorities, aware that if Jokic wears Celtic green, the balance of power tilts decisively toward the east. Insiders are even debating whether this could ignite a new wave of super team formations as rivals scramble to keep pace. For Celtics fans, the possibilities are breathtaking. Imagine Tatum cutting baseline as Jokic threads a no-look pass through traffic. Imagine Brown exploding in transition while Jokic secures rebounds and launches outlet passes with surgical precision. Imagine the Garden erupting in a playoff game as this trio combines for sequences that seem drawn from a video game. Analysts are not shying away from the word dynasty, because with Jokic, the Celtics are not just contenders, they could become the standard for the next generation. Financially, the rumors suggest Boston has crafted an irresistible package. Not only competitive in terms of salary, reportedly in the hundreds of millions of dollars, but structured to promise longevity, stability, and repeated championship runs. What intrigues insiders most is the belief that Jokic is motivated by more than numbers. The suggestion is that he wants to test himself in the crucible of Boston, in the city that celebrates banners, in an environment where every game carries historical weight. The media frenzy is already overwhelming. Entire talk shows are dedicating segments to possibilities, podcasts are debating matchups, and social media has exploded with hashtags mixing disbelief, heartbreak in Denver, and pure joy in Boston. International attention is massive as well, particularly in Serbia, where fans are following every leak with emotional intensity, knowing that if Jokic leaves Denver, his choice of Boston would redefine his legacy in ways never imagined. Behind the scenes, Denver is said to be in crisis mode, holding emergency meetings, attempting to reassure players and fans while facing the possibility of losing the one man who symbolized hope for the entire franchise. Meanwhile, Boston insiders are quietly celebrating, reportedly mapping out rotations and strategies that would maximize Jokic's playmaking, preparing to unveil a version of Celtics basketball that could rival the great eras of the past. The curiosity surrounding this rumor is insatiable. Was this decision made weeks ago, carefully hidden until now? Were other franchises, perhaps in the West, close to stealing him away, only to be outmaneuvered by Boston's meticulous planning? Did Jokic himself initiate the conversations, signaling that he was ready for a new challenge? Every insider has a different angle, and the lack of official confirmation only adds fuel to the fire. What we can say with certainty is that this story is dominating the global basketball conversation. Fans are debating loyalty versus ambition. Analysts are calculating playoff probabilities with Jokic in green. Rival teams are panicking behind the scenes, knowing that if Boston lands him, the road to the championship will run straight through TD Garden. So, Celtics Nation, this is where we are. On the edge of a possible reality that once felt like fantasy. Jokic, Tatum, and Brown as the new cornerstone of a dynasty that could define the next decade of basketball. Whether the rumor is confirmed tomorrow, next week, or never at all, the very possibility has already sent shockwaves through the NBA. And if it does become reality, it will be remembered not just as a trade, but as the moment the Celtics redefine the meaning of power in the modern league. Make sure you subscribe and drop a like, because this story is not finished. The next update could be the one that confirms it all. And when that moment comes, you will want to say you were here first, witnessing history in the making. The buzz around Nikola Jokic potentially joining the Boston Celtics has left the entire NBA world holding its breath. Yet what makes this even more fascinating is how the Celtics front office continues to maneuver behind the curtain with parallel negotiations that might completely reshape the roster's financial and strategic foundation. While Jokic dominates the headlines, an insider has revealed that Brad Stevens is still quietly plotting one more trade, a surgical move designed to push Boston fully under the luxury tax while preserving flexibility for the monumental future that may lie ahead. This is not speculation about roster fillers or meaningless depth pieces. This is about two names that carry both risk and opportunity, Anthony Simons and Sam Hauser. According to reports, Boston has been actively shopping Simons ever since acquiring him, a clear indication that his role may have been less about long-term fit and more about creating pathways for a larger master plan. When Jokic is the centerpiece of your potential strategy, every contract matters, every rotation decision matters, and every dollar in payroll can tip the balance between feasibility and impossibility. The timing is critical. Jayson Tatum's absence until March sets the stage for a team that must tread carefully, balancing competitiveness with long-term preparation. A Celtics team that fights its way into the postseason as a lower seed and then suddenly reintroduces a healthy Tatum, possibly alongside Jokic, would be a nightmare scenario for the Eastern Conference. Yet to make this dream a reality, Boston must think like chess players, sacrificing the right pieces at the right time to ensure the checkmate is inevitable. Simons is the most obvious candidate for a move. His offensive talent is undeniable, but insiders suggest the Celtics never envisioned him as part of their championship blueprint. Instead, his contract provides the type of flexibility that allows Boston to explore trades that bring back size, defense, or draft capital while lowering their financial exposure. If he is moved, the ripple effect could extend into the spring, where cap stability makes it easier to integrate a massive acquisition like Jokic. Sam Hauser, however, represents a different kind of decision. His value lies in chemistry and familiarity. The Celtics know exactly what he offers: reliable spacing, timely shooting, and the ability to change momentum with a single hot streak. Moving him would be painful, but it is not unthinkable because insiders say multiple teams covet his skill set. Shedding his contract would not only ease the luxury tax burden, but could also fetch Boston assets that align better with a post-Tatum injury roster. The central question is whether Stevens values immediate continuity or long-term positioning. If the whispers about Jokic's interest are accurate, then Boston may already be structuring its finances to accommodate the type of contract that could reach into the hundreds of millions of dollars across multiple years. Numbers like 200 or 300 million are not hypothetical. They are the real stakes when discussing a two-time most valuable player who would instantly elevate Boston into historic territory. Fans must ask themselves, would you sacrifice Simons now to create the breathing room needed to secure Jokic later, or would you risk losing that leverage for the comfort of seeing what Simons can provide in a green jersey? The Celtics front office appears to lean toward the first option, preferring to make bold moves now rather than delay and risk missing the window of opportunity. There is another layer to this that few are considering. League insiders hint that other franchises are monitoring Boston's maneuvers closely, trying to decode whether these smaller transactions are simply about tax savings or whether they are subtle indicators of a larger storm brewing. If Jokic to Boston is more than a rumor, then every minor trade becomes part of a grand narrative, a hidden roadmap that reveals how the Celtics are preparing to house a generational talent without collapsing their structure under financial strain. Boston is playing a high-stakes game of balance. Simons and Hauser are not superstars, but their roles in this unfolding drama could be decisive. A single contract moved at the right moment can be the difference between maintaining flexibility and being locked into mediocrity. When your goal is pairing Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and potentially Nikola Jokic on the same floor, the details matter, the timing matters, and the courage to make unpopular choices matters most. Imagine the scenario. It is the spring of 2026. Jayson Tatum returns healthy. Jaylen Brown is in peak form. Jokic, wearing Celtic green, orchestrates an offense that flows with precision and creativity unmatched in the league. The supporting cast, shaped by the decisions being made right now about Simons and Hauser, provides depth, shooting, and defense. That is not a fantasy. It is a possibility, but depends on whether Brad Stevens is willing to act boldly today. What fans must understand is that this offseason has never been about short-term patchwork. Every trade, every rumor, every insider leak points toward a long-term design, one that could culminate in Boston reclaiming the top of the NBA mountain. The debate over Simons versus Hauser is not just about which player fits better. It is about which financial pathway opens the door widest for a seismic addition that could alter the balance of the entire league. So the question remains, as Stevens weighs his options and as the league watches Boston with anticipation, what move will define this offseason? Will it be the subtle exit of Simons, the unexpected departure of Hauser, or will it be the quiet but deliberate preparation for the biggest announcement of the decade? Celtics Nation, stay ready, because if these whispers prove true, the green and white may soon carry not only the heart of Boston, but also the weight of a global basketball revolution.